Hi there, I watched Jojo Rabbit a few days ago and it was pretty great. I went to my local cinema like a good boy in the middle of the afternoon on a weekday, so it was kinda dead. It felt a bit embarrassing laughing at all the funny bits and being the loudest person in there. I gotta say as well, VIP seats have to be the worst idea a cinema can have. The standard seats we had were, well, standard seats. Doable, but the leather was calling to me, you know what I mean? Nobody else was sat in the VIP seats, so I don't know why cinemas get so anal about seat reservations in the middle of the afternoon. Or maybe I'm just being a big wet lettuce. Should I have just moved to the comfy seats in the row behind me even though I only bought a standard ticket? Anyway, the movie surrounds the titular character Jojo, an avid member of the Hitler Youth at the end of the Second World War. For those of you that don't know, Hitler Youth was pretty much like the Scouts, but instead of being taught to fight for Queen and country, you fight for the glory of Nazi Germany. There, they taught kids how to climb ropes, put out fires, and also be indoctrinated into believing that Jews were the worst. Jojo's whole world gets turned upside down, however, when he finds that his mother is hiding a Jewish girl inside her house. I picked this movie to watch because I'm going through a bit of a Taika Waititi fanboy phase at the moment. He's the director of this film and others like Thor Ragnarok and What We Do in the Shadows. Both are very fun movies with hilarious moments. Waititi definitely has his own comedic style that has continued into Jojo Rabbit, and yet the film takes a lot more cues and elements from his earlier film Boy, my personal favourite of his. So Jojo does have a lot to live up to. It definitely isn't as grand as Thor Ragnarok, but it doesn't need to be. Jojo doesn't even have a tenth of Ragnarok's budget, with a very localised and focused story. Most of the greatness this film is able to accumulate comes from the hilariously awkward moments, a cracking cast, and a fantastic script. The way that the film deconstructs Nazi ideology by having the main character be the most avid Hitler fan on the planet whilst also being 11 years old was just marvellous. Hearing a child espouse these ideas of Aryan supremacy made for great comedy. I think one of my favourite lines of his was something to the tune of "Germany will eventually be run by little boys like me," comparing Nazi ideology to a childlike fantasy and therefore treating and mocking it as such. This film isn't short of sad and heavy-hitting moments either. People die, animals die, and a lot of it packs serious dramatic punches. Even how the protagonist acquires his nickname Jojo Rabbit was a really bleak moment. You'll be laughing, crying, it really is an emotional journey. The cast were definitely a highlight of this film. ScarJo absolutely killed it, and even the various children that performed in this movie were outstanding too. They genuinely felt like children, especially the main kid, Roman Davis. He is superb. I believe this is his first film role too. Sam Rockwell, Rebel Wilson, and Alfie Allen are this really funny Nazi trio who are basically in charge of running the Hitler Youth Camp. How these three evolve as the film goes on is nothing short of brilliant. When it's so clear that the war is unwinnable on the German side, and yet the orders from on high are to carry on as normal, results in continual alcohol abuse and lunacy, ideas that are brought to life through these characters. I think having Waititi play Hitler, Jojo's imaginary friend, allowed Davis to really get into the head of this character as they bounced off of each other beautifully throughout the film. Hitler's presence sometimes felt a bit unwarranted, but the best part was how cowardly Waititi portrayed him. This idol that Jojo conjures in his mind is both an abstraction of himself and the ideal father that's missing from his life. Even Stephen Merchant showed up at one point as a member of the Gestapo, which just had me in stitches. The film definitely feels comedically risky. The humour certainly won't be for everyone, but it still has its awkward moments and really makes a mockery of children being groomed to be soldiers. And now for some spoilers. Here's a timestamp for when you can jump to if you don't want to find out what happens at the end of the film. The film felt a little longer than it needed to be, as the inevitable and predictable war zone that arrives at their town's doorstep concluded the movie. It does feel like certain serious moments, like slow-mo warfare, overshadowed the lunacy of it all. Yes, we all know war is bad, but the ideas that led to this destruction are what this film thrives on. How this child pictures Jewish people in his fantasies really drew out most of the comedy, even writing a book on them because all those that were written had been burned by that point. A lot of the serious moments ended in an anticlimax, showing a different light on post-war life that people really do just carry on. It definitely glossed over the brutality of the Russian soldiers that invaded invaded Germany, but it didn't need to have that sort of thing in there. What it was concentrating on thematically held up throughout. The ending, however, felt very Marvel. They play the song Heroes by David Bowie, and I don't know if it really worked in the context of our characters deciding to dance with each other. The lyrics are in German, sure, but neither character could truly be described as heroic. If they were memorializing his mother, sure, that would make sense. It certainly feels historically significant too, in that Germany and the English-speaking democracies would get on fine after the war. But honestly, it felt a bit forced, and they used the song at the end of the trailer too, so it definitely had its impact removed as a result. So, overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I'd recommend it to Taika Waititi fans more than anybody else, but if you like dark comedies or historical satire, this is a movie for you. I'm giving Jojo Rabbit an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Check out this movie if you get the chance. Have you seen it? What did you think? Leave a comment or join us on the famous Discord server, where we'll continue this discussion.